I'm talking about how long did I have Lewy body dementia symptoms before I was diagnosed. And I'll tell you up front that I've tried to write out some notes because I tend to forget stuff. And if I need to look down from uh, looking at you for a second to remember something, why please excuse that. Um, I just want to make sure I'm accurate for you. But I we know I had symptoms at least a year and a half before I was diagnosed. Um, and when I look back at it, we now believe I started perhaps maybe as much as 3 years prior to that. But there were certain things that we didn't notice. Uh, just the We didn't notice really anything serious first of all, but I had a lot of forgetfulness, and I had a lot of brain fog. Um, I would have um, a lot of times that I would, even though I lived in the same area, I would forget where I was going and how I was getting there and that kind of thing. And that was a pretty good problem. Um, I was I was a good employee. I worked at the same place for over 30 years, and I would start to forget things I was supposed to do, things I thought I had done, and sometimes my supervisor uh, would react to that, and I didn't know. That's what was going on. My wife first seemed to notice I was having a problem because I would, like zone out on her. Um, just really had problems remembering words. Um, I had a fog about what we were doing, where we were going. I would really have problems with that. Um, it was just a problem. She noticed, you know, when I started having a problem to get to the doctor right away, and so we finally did that. It's been about 5.5 years since my I've been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, and kind of an interesting part of it was with my first symptoms. Went to the hospital and they did a bunch of tests on me, and they thought I had epilepsy, and so I had to do a couple of overnight studies for that, and they kind of got to the point where they weren't sure about that, so they referred me to a neurologist, and the meds they had put me on for the epilepsy, nothing really had changed, so I had to wind up getting off those. But I went to Mayo, and they did like a 6 hour test on me, and came back and said that I had mild cognitive issues, and really didn't get too much of an answer there. So I was referred to Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, and I'm glad I went there, and they was able to diagnose me. But I was having problems with the brain fog. It was really bad. It's hard to explain that. It's just like you feel like you're in a bubble, and people will say talk to you, and you seem like you're always three sentences behind. You're trying to concentrate on the first thought of the conversation, and you can never catch up. You forget. And I had a lot of hallucinations. Whether it was things I seen, I would see animals that I didn't see that weren't there. I would see airplanes in the sky that weren't there. Um, I had smell. I lost my sense of smell for the most part. I could still smell a couple of things, like a skunk. I could still kind of smell that, but not too much. I had hearing issues. I would hear people calling my name, um, but people that weren't actually there. Um, I had a conversation with a man who was in my house one night, who I thought was a farmer who had just come by to see me, and I have, I only seen that one once, but a lot of times the animals was a big one. But another thing I struggled with was I would smell smoke a lot of times, and there wasn't any smoking, going on in the house whatsoever. But I always felt like I could smell smoke, and it was strong. Sometimes I would smell even like a real strong perfume, it seemed like, or whatever. And it wasn't something I was thinking about. It would just come out of nowhere. And may not last real long. The smoke, sometimes that would go on for several minutes. And I would get up and start walking around the house and try to find out what was on fire because I was really concerned. But I wake up my wife, and no, there was nothing going on. Now I know it's a hallucination, and it's a little more easy to deal with. You get used to them. At first, I was very frightened by them, but now if I happen to see a squirrel in a house or something, why I know I realize now that's probably not the situation going on. But I had and it comes and goes. I have tremors, um, basically on my left side more than anything. Um, Boy, I tell you, like trying to clip my nails and those things. If I am reaching for something from the dinner table or whatever, I get like what feels like an electrical jolt. I can't carry like a glass of water from one place to another or that kind of thing because I'll spill it. I'll just get you know I get real rigid at times, and I'd have what they call the Lewy lean. I try to be conscious of that, but you kind of stoop over or you lean a little bit, and your steps are not like they should be. They're more smaller paced, if you will, not as far out with a stride, and you always get the feeling like you got to be careful. That's kind of the way it was for me. The worst thing I think I've had to deal with is REM, sleep disorder, and that is where when I go to sleep at night, I never get into a deep enough sleep where I reach what they call REM status, which a normal person can get to. And a normal person, when they reach that status, um, if they're dreaming, it's like everything is shut off. They're not going to react to that, as much. Or for me, if I don't get to that, that happens quite frequently, I will have a bad dream, and I'm always thinking I'm fighting somebody, somebody's attacking me, there's an animal attacking one of my dogs, or whatever it would be, and I am flailing around and I want to fight. I might get up and start, throwing punches. Screaming's a big deal, and of course that's a scary situation for my wife and whatnot. And I've gone to sleeping in a chair just for her protection because when that's going on, I have no idea that I'm doing that, but it seems very real at the time. And one time I can remember my little dog was sleeping next to me in the chair, and I happened to wake up and I was choking my dog. And I must have been having some type of bad dream. So I try not to let the dog sleep with me now at night like that. That's horrible. It breaks my heart. But that's just a lot of the things. Another thing I just like to tell you is, right at the beginning, I was always tired, and I mean tired, fatigued, tired. I still get, really tired at sometimes. But at the beginning, I could probably sleep 20 hours a day, several days a week, and I did that. Um, I might cycle back around where I couldn't sleep too easily. I'd be awake a lot, but it seemed like I was always tired. Cold is another one. My dry mouth, I had a lot, and that would bother me. And they sent me for a swallow test as well. And because every once in a while I have difficulty swallowing things, I have to really concentrate. And it's hard to say that you have to concentrate on your chewing, But you have to really be careful on some of that stuff when most people take for granted. I have special utensils, special spoons, special weighted forks. It's supposed to help. Weighted pens. My handwriting, you can't read it. I can't print anything anymore. There's nothing like that. Of course, I can't drive. Um, you lose a lot of your independence, and I fight a lot of times. I fight apathy in the mornings when I get up. I really have no desire to do anything. That's a little different than depression. You do feel down a lot, but apathy is just you just don't want. You have no desire to do anything, and I can just sit there and just like 45 minutes will go by and I'm still like I gotta get up. I gotta get up, and I don't. I just wanted to talk to you about um, tell you that there is a Lewy Body Dementia Association, and that um, you can find them on the internet, and they will send you all sorts of material describing most common symptoms. A lot of questions you might have are right there on the website. Um, One of the problems that I've had is it seems like some family members, some friends will see me and I'm able to talk and I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with him. They think I made all this up, and that's not a fun thing to have go on when you feel like people don't believe you because they don't see what might be going on in the middle of the night or at certain times. Um, it's just at first that really bothered me, and I can't sit there and try to convince everybody what I feel. The doctors know what's going on. My wife knows what's going on, and so if you are running that same problem, you may well lose some friends who don't want to talk to you anymore because they don't know what to say, and family members. But we'll put the link to the Lewy Body Dementia Association's website at the end of this video. So if you need to go there, that'll help you. Okay. Thank you.